Hello, Marvel Legends. Look, this is a different kind of backdrop. Why are we doing this? What's going on? Who do you think you are? Well, let me tell you. This is a new kind of feature that I'm going to trial, I'm going to experiment, which is basically just 5-minute editorials to see if people would like to see like my hot take on whatever sort of subject might be prevalent or sort of in the news at the moment. And, you know, if these take off, then great. And if not, then I'll abandon them because there's only so much Dave anyone can handle. And today we want to talk about Marvel owning Aliens and Predator. That's been like a big thing that I wouldn't say has been swept under the rug, but it's not got the amount of publicity that you necessarily would have thought that perhaps it would do. And this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because the Alien and Predator franchises are ones that I've grown up with. I mean, look, I'm pushing 40 now, so that means that I was a young kid in the late 80s. And of course, what was the primary demographic for Aliens and Predator in the 80s and 90s? It was kids who were probably too young to be watching them. That's why we had the action figures and the comics and the video games. That's what we grew up on now. And honestly, that's why Aliens and Predator are still relevant. It's because of our generation, these 30 to 50-year-olds who grew up with these franchises. And that's why we need to keep them alive and relevant, because my worry, and it's a very real worry, I think, is that in 10 years' time, the people who are making decisions about what media is made are not going to be our generation that have nostalgia for these products. Because that's the big thing. You know, Aliens and Predator are only getting new movies and things nowadays because of the goodwill from the old movies of the 80s. Because no one, I'm telling you now, no one is going to be nostalgic in 10 years' time for Alien Requiem or Aliens versus Predator, or whatever. I think it was AVP Requiem and Aliens Covenant, whatever. Either way, like, those films don't hold any cachet. So we have to try and make some new media that's going to actually hold younger people's attention so that they keep these products alive in 10 years' time, because whew, right now, I can't imagine a single 20-year-old who's like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Predator. Why? You know, why? What, were you a huge fan of Adrian Brody? Did you friggin' love Predators? I mean, that wasn't a bad movie, but still, it's not going to pass the test of time. So we need to keep these things, you know, relevant and good. And while Dark Horse has done like great stuff with their comics, with their Alien comics and their Predator comics, it's not mainstream. It's still just catering to my generation, and we need to keep these properties relevant. So even though, you know, the thought of Disney owning everything is kind of depressing, it also is not that bad in as much as it's going to give these products a platform to stay relevant. You know, when Disney bought Fox, I thought, great, we're going to get another do-over for Aliens. We're going to get another chance to make a good Predator film, because that's been a long time in coming. So with Marvel now sort of incorporating Aliens and Predator, again, it's giving them another leash on life, which makes such a big impact, I think. So anyway, we've got the Aliens TV show announced, which is, I think, exciting. I'm not a big TV show guy, but I mean, it took me like until now to get into watching The Mandalorian, and finally I have, and I'm like, okay, I get it. You know? I mean, that's a video for another time, but I would love to see what they can do with an Aliens TV show. But as far as Marvel Comics are concerned, like, that's the big thing that I wanted to talk about now, 4 minutes into this video. I get a feeling these might not take off like I thought, but Marvel Comics are going to be incorporating Aliens and Predator. And a lot of people were up in arms about this, but being like, oh, Disney, Marvel are going to have Aliens and Predator? They're not going to be able to do Aliens and Predator. Like, they're going to make it all kidified and, like, you know, water it down and all that stuff. Okay, let me stop you there. First of all, they're not... I'm gonna, you know, state this here and as if it's fact, which, you know, I will eat my hat if it's not, but I mean, come on. Aliens and Predator are not gonna be in the 616 Marvel universe. They're not. We're not gonna have the Skrulls suddenly get attacked by the Xenomorphs. That's not gonna happen. We're not gonna have Wolverine in the 616 suddenly get hunted by a predator, as cool as that would be. they're going to be their own license. I have no doubt in the world that Marvel are going to be making Predator comics and Alien comics that are completely disparate from the 616. I know we've got all this promotional cover art. We've had some awesome, amazing cover art of, like, mashups, Marvel mashups with, there's been a Predator holding, the head of Iron Man. There's been various superheroes fighting aliens. There's been really, really cool Marvel covers. But that's just a promotional tactic. That's not actually hinting to what we're going to see. We're not going to have xenomorphs popping up in an Infinity Gauntlet or something. That's not going to be the case. It was like Marvel do this stuff all the time. They had just the one that springs to mind is Tron, when Tron Legacy came out. Anyone remember that? They had all these Tron covers, mashup covers. It's something Marvel do to promote whatever they're in business with. And at the moment, they're promoting Aliens and Predator, and we're getting some badass comic covers out of it. But that's not going to be what this franchise is. And I'm fine with that, because we don't need Aliens and Predators in the 616, and that's not what we're going to get. And now also we've had people saying, oh, it's Disney, so they're going to water down the Alien franchise. It's not going to be, like as visceral as it was. Like, guys, we just had a human being ripped in half and his guts spill out all over the place in the most recent Venom comic. It's like Marvel do not have a problem with viscera and blood and gore. Like, they really, really don't. They might sort of, like, I was going to say they might try and hide it in, like, shadows and stuff, but actually no. When Sentry ripped Ares in half, like, you saw everything. They don't hide from these things. And secondly, like, if they really wanted to go, the only thing that Marvel don't do is bad language. They'll normally sort of censor that or whatever. But they've had the Marvel Max imprint. They have all their different imprints to do whatever they want to do. So I have no doubt in the world that Aliens and Predator are going to get their just desserts in that kind of visceral depiction. So we've got all that to look forward to. I mean, look, I love blood, guts, and boobs as much as the next guy. That's just fun, and that's what these movies should be. I think, Alien, when it was like the first Alien, that was like sort of a high art sci-fi kind of thing. But really, it's just fun now. I want fun movies and I want fun entertainment. And if they can give us that, then fantastic. So I don't think we're going to see Spider-Man getting a face hugger on him anytime soon. I don't think we're going to see Mr. Fantastic have 3 red dots appear on his head. That's not going to happen unless it is an Elseworlds type story. And if it's not, then I will eat my beanie. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But anyway, guys, what do you think of Marvel owning Aliens and Predator? Are you excited for the future projects coming out? I mean, my goodness. This could be a renaissance. We thought The Predator was going to be a renaissance. It wasn't. We thought Ridley Scott coming back to Aliens was going to be a renaissance. It wasn't. Maybe we can get something, because Lord knows, if we don't make more iconic media that everyone from all generations lapses onto, then eventually our generation are not going to be in charge of making media anymore. And it's going to be the kids who are then in charge, and they're going to be making stuff about their, I don't know, Pokemons or skateboards or haircuts. I don't know what kids are into these days, but that's why we got to make more iconic media with Aliens and Predator. Guys, I'm David, that's just my opinion, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.